Does Bollywood have a problem with women? India's film industry is second only to Hollywood. It produces more than 1,500 films every year, more than any other country, and sells more movie tickets than anywhere else. And just like Hollywood, it hasn't escaped the attention of the global Me Too movement. Women around the world are taking a stand against sexual harassment, sexism, and misogyny. And there's a lot of that in Bollywood. A 2017 study of 4,000 films found pervasive gender bias and stereotypes in Indian movies. Popular Indian movies often normalize acts of sexual violence against women. So what is the root of the problem?
It's a very, very patriarchal industry. It's largely dominated by a small bunch of very powerful film families. Of course, there are exceptions to this norm, but the norm is that.
Most Bollywood stories revolve around male protagonists, where women often serve as secondary characters and are the subject of a man's sexual attraction. It's not unusual to see scantily clad women performing in sensual dance numbers.
So if you see the history of the Indian entertainment industry, when it started about say 80-90 years back, women used to not work, in the Indian society. But if you see the sex ratio, it's still very low. We don't have a lot of women writers. So if you see, all the female characters are being written by men, and that's the reason they're very stereotypical.
Now time for a little history lesson. Depictions of Indian women in blockbuster movies haven't always been so problematic. The 1957 epic Mother India featured a female lead who successfully defended herself against the sexual advances of a tyrannical landlord without the need for a male savior.
Here you see the struggle of a poor family, where you have a woman that is playing a very strong role. She's a great mother, she's a great wife, but she's also struggling with the debts that the poor family has. And so it's a very, very powerful character that she's playing. That movie itself has made women quite strong in that particular era.
Though Mother India became a classic and is widely considered one of the greatest Indian films of all time, later films failed to depict women in the same manner.
I would rather say like 80s is a time when they're more like a glamorous component of the movies, dancing around the trees, being kidnapped, being raped, being killed, They are fighting for their rights, but they're also becoming more and more of a glamorous component of the movies.
Gender-biased representations in Indian cinema were normalized by this point, but that doesn't mean there aren't exceptions to the rule. The late Sridevi portrayed powerful female characters in her movies, which often upstaged her male co-actors. Her role in the 1983 classic Himmatwala earned acclaim, as did her performance in the 1989 drama Joshile. But things have definitely changed since Mother India came out.
They, by now, compared to, let's say, the era of Mother India, they lost their space they had created for themselves.
It's not just limited to what you see on screen. Many insiders say sexual harassment is an open secret in the Indian industry. And it's actually bigger than that. The big screen has a direct effect on wider society. Numerous studies have proven a link between what people see in media and how they behave in everyday life.
I absolutely find that the way that women are depicted in Bollywood have real-life consequences on society in India as well as the Indian diaspora. One very clear example was in 2015, where an Indian origin man in Australia was found stalking two women after being influenced by what he saw in Bollywood movies and the normalization of stalking.
Stalking, eve-teasing, rape, and other forms of harassment are a recurring theme in Bollywood films. But wait a minute, what is eve-teasing? You know that bit in a lot of Indian movies where a male character repeatedly harasses and 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 harasses until he finally gets the girl. That is eve-teasing, and it's a big problem across South Asia.
Our society has predominantly been a very misogynist society. Our media and our entertainment industry is totally dependent on the society for content, and the society gets affected by the media. So it's very codependent on each other. We've grown up watching songs, Bollywood songs, where eve teasing was a form of romance.
Sexual harassment and misogyny are not unique to Bollywood or India. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a global problem.
One of the main ways that we'll see change is when more female directors are able to helm cameras and helm scripts and make films for women by women, where again women who are depicted on screen are complicated and nuanced and are the protagonists.
The Me Too movement has helped start the conversation. But is Bollywood listening? Leave a comment below, don't forget to share and hit subscribe.